So today I'm going to give you a tool to know if you should be editing your songs more or not. Is editing music ruining music? What's really interesting to me is the music that I listen to, the music that feels timeless, is music that was produced and has audible mistakes in the recording. And oftentimes it's also mixed in a way that sounds not great. But for whatever reason, I still love the music. I still go back to those songs. Whereas more modern music is so tightly edited and produced, and I find that I have a harder time connecting to the music. I might really like it for about a few days, but then I just don't really care about it anymore. So what makes something timeless, and then what makes something technically correct, but just doesn't have the same kind of replay value? I think the answer comes down to how the songs are produced and edited. In the perfect world, there would be no editing. You would go into the studio, play your parts, record perfect takes, and you're done. But we don't live in a perfect world, right? So for us to make our music in the best form possible usually requires some degree of editing. Now, this is where it gets really complicated because a lot of people interpret this as everything needs to be 100% perfect. Now, you know as well as I do that music is a totally subjective thing. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Perhaps stylistically, super, super tight, crazy, robotic instrumentation is your style. But in terms of the listeners that consume your music, they operate more on an emotional connection or a vibe to your song. Now, vibe is just some weird, undefined terminology that means that it has good feeling. Feeling doesn't necessarily mean it's technically correct. So on one hand, you want your music to be technically perfect, right? But on the other hand, you have this objective feeling element to your song. So how do you balance the two? How do you know when you have corrected the track or edited the track enough so that it manifests itself in the best possible light? And how do you know when you've gone too far? So here is the strategy that I've taken over the course of my career mixing and mastering music. I try to do as little editing as possible so that nothing is distracting. Now, when I say distracting, what I'm talking about is it takes me out of the moment. It takes me away from listening to the song and focusing on one individual element that drew my attention to it for some reason. Maybe it was the vocalist hitting a bad note. Maybe it was the guitar player that was slightly off time. When you have that experience where you're taken out of the moment, that usually is an indication that it needs to be edited. Now, sometimes you have instrumentation that kind of has a push or a pull to it. Like drummers tend to do this when they're building up to an exciting part of a song, and that can be totally okay if it feels right. Now, if it feels like the drummer is running away from the band, obviously we have to do something to fix that. But sometimes it's okay to get a little bit ahead of the beat if it's building anticipation for what's to come musically. If you ever are unsure if the song is edited enough, this is what you should do. Export the song, get it queued up on your computer or on your phone, and hit play. Now, because you are making music, you are hypercritical of your own music. Or if you're mixing it for someone else, you're not really listening to it for the enjoyment aspect. You're going to be listening to it from a technical perspective. So to get rid of that, what I recommend doing is to listen to the song while you are slightly distracted. What do I mean by this? Get on your phone, start scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or something, or write an email to someone while the song is playing. Don't have your immediate attention focused on the song. Focus on some other trivial task at hand. If at any time when you're working on this other task, you get distracted from your task because you heard something weird in the song, then you know that needs to get fixed. If you can go through the whole song and not get distracted from what you're doing, then you probably are in a position where the song is edited enough that you've maintained enough human aspect in the song that it's not distracting and you have a solid song. At that point, you probably do not need to edit it and it's basically up to the artist's intention on how tight to make it. Now, it's super important that you stay distracted because anybody that makes music knows that once you start going through the process, it's hard to listen to music objectively for the entertainment value of music. And you start dissecting it. And you cannot do that if you're trying to have a objective opinion on if you've edited your song enough. So give that a shot. Pull up something that's going to distract you just long enough to get you through the song, and then let that be an indicator if you need to go back and tighten it up even more. Do you feel that music should always be technically correct and perfectly edited and gridded? Or are you okay with a little bit of push and pull and vibe in a song? Let me know in the comments below. I'm also curious to hear about the songs that you think are timeless and how they are edited. And if you want to go deeper into editing and want to learn all the tricks and secrets that the pros are using to make their songs sound awesome and still maintain a little bit of this human feel, definitely go and check out the description because I have an entire course dedicated to this exact topic. It's broken down into individual elements like guitars or vocals or drums or bass, so you don't have to buy the entire thing if you just want to learn how to make your vocals sound better. With that, I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. My name is Bobby Balo. I'm the mixing and mastering engineer at Raytown Productions, and I hope to see you in another video.